But I want to welcome Mr. Hines up to the stage. And he's going to be able to, I think you guys are going to be really excited about this. So I'm super excited.
The bar is like up here. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. No pressure.
Yeah, no pressure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, here you go. Thank you.
Okay. Guilty as charged. This is mine. I left this up here, so I'm going to just hide that because it's shiny. All right. Good morning, everyone. Real quick before we get started, I was hoping we could do a selfie. I like to do this as social proof that we were together today and in person once again. So let's. I can't get everybody, but this group looks better looking than that group, so I'm going to go here. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Awesome. Okay, cool. Find that on my LinkedIn later. Good morning, everyone. I'm so excited to be here with you guys. I hope you're as amped up after Aaron as I am. And boy, what an introduction. And now I've got to meet those crazy standards. But you guys are used to meeting crazy standards because you're in pharmaceuticals. But to kick things off, I'm Tim Hines, as Aaron mentioned, and I am a professional marketer, speaker. So I'm glad to be here with you guys today. And I'm going to be talking to you about human marketing for the win and how scrappy marketers can make a big, lasting impact in what they do. So I know some of you guys are in marketing, some of you guys are in sales, some of you guys are in business, but I think this will be a great presentation for all of you guys to take back. And I think one thing that I'm really stoked about with meeting with you guys today is that well, this is my first time ever presenting in front of a bunch of drug dealers, so that's cool. So if you guys have any samples and stuff, I'll be out there afterward. Anyway, so let's kick this off. So who the heck am I? It's always good to kind of have a little bit of a backgrounder. So again, I am a professional marketer and consultant. I've been doing marketing for about 20 years. I started when I had hair, and it's made me lose it, obviously. And I'm also an author, speaker, podcaster. So on the screen, you can see I actually have my podcast listed there. It's called the Marketing Starter Podcast. Hopefully you guys can check it out. And I also have, as I mentioned, I'm an author. My first book is actually coming out at the end of the month, and I have it outside so we can talk about that, and hopefully you guys can pick up a copy today. And then I'm also a startup founder. So I launched a few companies. So this one called LocalBound, which is a digital advertising agency. Curb Ninja, it's an app for motorcycle parking. And Pitch Training Camp was this entrepreneurial pitch coaching endeavor that I launched back in Chicago when I lived there back in the day. So I've kind of been around the block, done a bunch of stuff. But most importantly, I'm a marketing evangelist. So I love talking about marketing. I love nerding out on marketing. I love sharing marketing ideas and, of course, always learning about it, hence why I'm here today. So if you guys scan that QR code, that goes to my LinkedIn. I hope that you all connect with me. Would love to stay connected after this. All about the social medias. So a couple of the companies that I've worked for, maybe you guys know a few of these names that are up there right now. Maybe like Ticketmaster, probably have a love-hate relationship with those guys. But my experience has mostly been in B2B technology throughout my career, but I've dabbled into some other things too, including having a short stint with the CIA back in the day in college. I actually had an internship with them, but it wasn't, anything fancy like running around like Tom Cruise and stuff like that. It was actually just helping to market their careers on campus when I was in school. So it was really cool to work for them, and they actually offered the team jobs, and I was like, do I have to go to basic training? And they're like, yes. And I was like, nope, I'm good. I'm going to stay in technology. Forget that part. So that's a little bit about me. And now today, what I want you guys to learn from my talk, and my goals at least, for number one is to grab what is going on in the human marketing evolution. Okay, there's a lot that's changing in the world around us today. And the way that we communicate with people is needing to become more and more human. So I want you to grasp what's going on in that evolution. Number two, I want you to learn how to harness the power of a scrappy mindset, like an entrepreneurial mindset, and how to be kind of a hacker in what you're doing in sales and marketing. And then number three is to get some humanistic tactics that you guys can actually apply to your marketing and business and sales today. But lastly, I want you guys to get excited because we're here. We're in person, we're ready to get out in the field and do marketing again. We can see people's smiling faces, and we can start building relationships and get going. So does that sound good? Can I get a yeehaw because the rodeo's in town? Yeehaw! Yeehaw! There we go. Okay, cool. So we're all familiar with B2B, B2C, right? Some of you guys work in kind of a hybrid of both because what you do is a business. Well, I'm here to tell you guys that today, B2B and B2C are dead. It's dead. Let's kill it. All the rage with the kids these days is a thing called H2H. Does anyone know what H2H is? Human to human. Yes, gold star for you. And she's in front. See, the gold star students are always in front. H2H means human to human. So gone are the days of where we're profiling our customers as either businesses or consumers. That prescription doesn't work anymore. The new prescription is H2H. You see what I did there, prescription? Okay, all right, guys, just making sure that you're alive this morning. So H2H is all about having human connections and building human relationships. So this is a great definition of what human to human actually is. And so I love actually reading quotes. You're supposed to read those as a presenter, so I'm going to read that. Building an emotional connection with our customers that is helpful, authentic, respectful, and personal. So those are like the four pillars that are leading this human-to-human change, or what are the 4 pillars that successful businesses and brands are taking advantage of today. Helpful, authentic, respectful, and personal, or as I like to call it, HARP. So really easy to remember that, H-A-R-P. You'll never forget this beautiful HARP. That is, again, helpful, authentic, respectful, and personal. So that is how brands are being successful today with that. And what's cool is that this being human thing is really trending. So here are just a few headlines from some articles that I found in doing my consulting research, and also for this talk. That's all about like how this human interaction and being more human in what we're doing in sales and marketing is taking over. And this is just a few. So clearly it's trending. People are really starting to get a grasp and understanding that the marketing, that the way that we have been doing it over the past 10, 20 years is not working. It's not as impactful anymore. We kind of got to get back to grassroots and become more human once again. So the big question is, how can we be more human? And you would think that this would be easy, right? Because we're humans. It should be second nature to us to be more human. But oftentimes in business, it becomes really difficult for us to do, right? We get caught up in talking about revenue. We get caught up in talking about products. We get caught up in talking about us versus talking about our actual customer, what their needs are, what their pain points are. So one of the first things that you guys can do is delight your customers. Roll out the red carpet for them wherever possible. Give them a flawless, exceptional experience that's going to wow them wherever you possibly can, right? Take it to the next level. Imagine seeing like that whole list of Yelp reviews for, like, you maybe go to a restaurant and you see like the list of Yelp reviews and food was great, blah, blah, but they really went that extra mile when they took me to the table and they put the napkin on my lap and brought out the slice of cake with a candle in it for my birthday. Oh my gosh, this place is amazing, right? That red carpet experience will help you to be more human and actually connect with your customers. And then following the platinum rule is one that I think is key to all of this. Now, we should all be familiar with the golden rule, right? We went to elementary school, which is whoever has the gold makes the rules. No, it's not that one. It's treat others the way you want to be treated. The platinum rule is treat others the way they want to be treated. So I've got a few notes, so some people know about that, right? So the platinum rule is taking it to the next level. So it's understanding the unique needs of your customer and treating them the way that they expect versus the way you want to be treated, because you're a unique individual and maybe you want to be treated differently than they do. And then you want to market with some empathy / emotional intelligence. Now, I will say that I'm pretty guilty of this, at least my wife will say I'm pretty guilty with this. I've been married for 5 years, and I'm still trying to learn her love languages to this day. You know, she will always claim, like, you need to be more empathetic. I'm like, I'm working on it, I promise, I'm working on it. But just like if you're in a relationship, whether with a spouse or a significant other, it's the same thing with our customers too. We need to be empathetic to their scenario because they're in a much different space than we are, or at least where we think they are. So we need to meet them where they're at and understand them and understand their emotional side of what they're going through. So have some emotional intelligence. Then this one, join the post-digital era. Is anyone familiar with the term post-digital? Great. That's why I'm here, to show you guys the pathway. So this was actually part of a talk that I gave that Aaron was talking about when I was at the Houston AMA event. I talked all about post-digital. Post-digital, which I'll actually get into in a minute, is actually a humanistic approach to how we're doing marketing today. But basically, it's trying to say that we're moving past where we're at in digital marketing to be driving more human marketing tactics and mixing those together. But I'll talk about it in a minute. And then lastly, I'm going to do a little marketing R&R, which is relationship building, which was actually one of the pillars you just saw that was super important, that PCCA believes in, and reputation management. So building relationships with our customers, understanding them more than just seeing them as a number or as a profile in your CRM. They are real people, so building relationships with them, and then also managing and building the reputation of your business too, because that perception in the market drives a lot of understanding and a lot of business to you from your customers based on how you're perceived, right? So marketing R&R is relationship building and reputation management. But lastly, just don't be so damn boring, guys. I know we're in exciting times. There's a lot going on in the industry. You're making a lot of cool things happen, but the last thing you want to do is be boring with your marketing, boring with your sales, boring with your messaging. Otherwise, your customers just aren't going to pay attention to you. Your prospects are going to go, I don't care. You're just talking about yourselves. The people who are having the most impact are humans that are actually listening, that are getting their customers to open up, and you're not boring them to death with all the product speak, all of the technical speak. You're actually talking to them like you're having a cup of coffee with a friend. Get them to open up, get them to engage, and that's how you're going to win them over. Here's another great quote. It says, the most likable people are genuine, consistent, non-attention seekers who make a strong first impression and greet people by name. And I would say that this quote is basically human marketing 101, right? Like, how do you be likable? Well, geez, just knowing someone's name and being like, hey, Bob, hey, Cindy, and recognizing them, having that personal touch, that's such a great start. But then also not seeking the attention and making a good first impression. I'm sure these are all things that you guys already know. And this quote came from Dr. Travis Bradbury, who's a co-author of the book, Emotional Intelligence 2.0. So obviously he wrote a book on it, so he gets it. But I think it's just such a strong thing to take a step back and look at that and understand, like, well, what do we need to do to be a little more likable, a little more interactive with our customers? Now, I've had opportunity to obviously meet with some of the people from PCCA, talk with a few of you guys that are on the front lines of the market. And what is great is that I've learned a lot about how compounding in the market works with prescribers and really getting an understanding of like product market fit and what you're doing and how like you actually believe that you're helping people, which is fantastic. And that's great because you guys get it. So the reason that compounding exists in the first place is to personalize medicine for patients, right? At the end of the day. You're in the business of personalization. So your marketing needs to be personalized as well. If personalization wasn't needed, you guys wouldn't even be sitting here today. We would just be going with the status quo, the written prescription as is. We wouldn't need to make any changes to it. But because every human is different, so is every product that you guys create, every compound that you create. So the same goes for your marketing too. Your marketing needs to be tweaked and targeted and positioned and built around the unique needs of your customer or your prospect. So I think that just like medicine, marketing is not one size fits all, right? You have to compound your way into your marketing to make it work for you to actually drive a message home that's going to resonate with your customers. So as far as top human marketing trends, like what are the things that some of these great marketers that are out there, what are they doing today to actually be more resonating in this human-to-human type of mold? Well, number one is employee activation. And that's turning your employees into your greatest advocates. So one company that I used to work for in the past, and it was on the screen earlier, is this company called Dialpad. They are a tech company based in California, San Francisco, but they've built such a great culture that people really, hear that rally cry. They all beat the same drum. They love the brand. They love working there. The company culture is really tight. And so I still follow them, and I'm connected with a bunch of them on LinkedIn and stuff today. And I'll go on there and I'll see, it'll be maybe a job post, or it'll be a great piece of content, or a partnership announcement, or a funding raise, or whatever. And every time I see that, most of the time, it's something that was shared from the employee who works there versus me seeing it directly from the feed of the company itself. The employees are completely sharing things that maybe have nothing to do with their job description. They have nothing to do with what they do on the daily, but they love working there. And so they're so happy to advocate and share in what they're doing. So I think it's really cool that you can take your employee and activate them and get them to be a big champion of what you do. So that is a very human approach. Second is to have as much story-driven content as possible. If you think back to the caveman days, the things that we connected around were storytelling, sitting around campfires. Humans love to tell stories. That's how we connect and identify with each other. So any way that you can try to drive stories home through your content, the better. So whether that's a great story about coming here today and the things that you're learning, or when you've gone out in the field and met with a specific customer and learned a unique new problem and asked a question about that. But you can create pieces of content, whether big or small, that are story-driven, and that is a human way of doing it. Next, you want to personalize wherever possible. So I already spoke about how what you guys do is personalization. You're in this business, and you need to do that in your marketing as well. So you need to take that extra little time, that extra little edge, and find ways to personalize what you're doing in your marketing for your prospects and customers. So one thing that I thought was interesting is that there was a Salesforce study, and it found that 45% of customers ignore communications from marketers that aren't personalized. That's nearly half of people that you're reaching out to don't care about your message unless you have some sort of personalization in it. And you may be going, oh, well, what do I do to personalize? Well, one thing that you can immediately do is having, like, imagine you're sending an email campaign, having their name in the subject line, having, hi, Karen, comma, as opposed to hello person, and then writing the copy. Identifying maybe what their problem is, using their company names. There's so many great things that we can do in marketing, especially with marketing automation tools, that'll help us to personalize wherever we can. Maybe it's writing a thank you note, a handwritten thank you note, as opposed to sending an email. There are things that you can do to kind of take it to that next level. And those type of things today will win over customers so much more because you went that extra step, because now they're so used to just not getting that. It's all behind the electronic wall of the internet, and it's all impersonal. So if you can go just that little extra step, you're going to win them over big. And then conversational marketing, I think, is a really important part of this. And I think you guys are already doing a great job of this, at least from my research and what I've heard so far. But it's actually having a two-way street with your prospect or your customer. So gone are the days of where we're just pushing out information into the ether and hoping people receive it and they react to it. Now we can actually have conversations. So you can do things like, I heard someone talk about social media a little while ago. Things you can do on like LinkedIn is actually posting up questions, posting up polls, getting people to answer questions, react to those polls, starting to actually create conversations and threads and using groups and things to actually learn and have a conversation with people, talking with them, having a dialogue versus talking at them like I'm doing now. No, okay. Dialogue is important. And then also you want to share your values. So I'll point back to Erin again. Did a great job of talking about what PCCA's values were at the beginning. That was like one of the first things that she talked about, right? She got up here and immediately said, our values are this. We believe in this. And she was shouting it from the rooftops. And you guys need to do the same thing. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this author and speaker. His name is Simon Sinek, and I am a huge fan of his. He has a book called Start With Why and a TED Talk. If you haven't checked him out, you should. But I'm a big fan of that school of thought of his. And that in his school of thought, Simon Sinek, S-I-N-E-K. And his whole mantra goes back to the thought that people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And people buy into companies or other people when you have a shared belief. And if you're not showing or sharing what your values are in the way that you're pitching, in the way that you're speaking, when you're meeting in person, the way that your website copy is written, whatever across the board, if you're not sharing those values and shouting them from the rooftops, then how is a customer supposed to know what you believe? And if they don't know what you believe, then they're less likely to do business with you. So it's really important for you guys to have what your core values are from your individual companies, and everyone should be slightly different, I would imagine. But sharing those wherever possible, shouting them from the rooftops, basically putting up a billboard and saying, like, this is what we believe, people. If you believe this, prescriber, we have the same shared belief, let's work together. And so that is a really important piece of that. And then also, a big part of being human is being vulnerable, being honest, right? Like, I think we like to pretend that sometimes our companies are perfect. We always have a smiling face. It's kind of like that whole like Instagram thing, like, oh my gosh, your life looks amazing, super FOMO, like, well, companies are imperfect because the humans behind them are imperfect. So being vulnerable, showing your imperfections, showing that you are human behind the business, I think is super important. And then obviously honesty. People are not going to want to do business with people who they think are dishonest. So maintaining your honesty, maintaining your integrity, all great human aspects to have in your marketing. Building a community, so I mentioned the LinkedIn idea a minute ago of like asking questions, but you can also build communities online using LinkedIn groups or whatever. You can build communities in person. I've talked to a couple of people here who said, hey, you know, I've done some happy hours for prescribers, and I've tried to get people together to have kind of thought experiments. Where I come from in like the B2B tech world, a lot of times they'll have like these customer forums where they bring people together to talk about problems and understand like what's going on in the marketplace. So there's a lot of different things that you can do. You have to do what, you know, obviously fits your business, fits your timetable, but building a community obviously is a superhuman thing to do. And then lastly, you want to show off your humans wherever possible. And what I mean by that is, who are the faces behind your business? That's you guys. So I think doing a tweet is great, doing a LinkedIn post is great, but how much better are those things when you have a photo behind it, when you're showing the people that are in action, when you're showing off the actual humans behind what you're doing? That actually establishes in our primal brains that connection that we have with people. So showing off your humans is a key thing to do. And this is a long list, and these are just some of the top ones. You guys don't have to do all of these, but if you just take some of them and start applying them even today, I think you'll start to see some immediate change in what you're doing on your human side of marketing. And speaking of showing off your humans, I got to go to People's in Austin, and I hung out with Jenny. And it's good to see you without a mask. We came in and I was like, oh, what does she look like? I had to like go look at your LinkedIn and remember what you actually look like. I'm like, cheekbones up. That's like all we knew. But I had a great time going in there. I was very fortunate to go in there and check out that lab and get the tour and actually see the people behind the business. And I think it's like really impactful to, you know, get that feeling and to see what's happening behind the scenes. I think it's really cool, especially as if I were a prescriber, if I were a doctor, to like see a photo like this and go, oh, look at that. They've got all this great equipment. There's so much stuff that's happening. Look at all the people at work, and getting an understanding of like, you know, what the essence is, what is behind what I'm buying. And so it's really making that personal experience out of your brand, and nothing says that more than taking a selfie like this. So just a couple selfies here and there, huge impact. Grab some water real quick. I'll let you guys keep looking at this handsome picture. Okay. I see some of you have food, so that's good, because I was really hoping that this delicious looking slide would not make you too hungry. I promise I'm not doing it to I promise I'm not doing it to torture you. I have it up here for a reason. So he's like, dang it, man, why did you have to? I didn't have time to grab breakfast before I headed over here. Well, don't worry. There's a break after this. Lunch is coming up. I'm not going to stand between you and this slide much longer. Or am I just delaying time so that way you have to stare at it as long as possible? No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so I apologize in advance for doing this. I'm not trying to make you guys hungry, but in my research for the talk, I actually spoke with one of your counterparts, and I was delighted to hear about all of the really unique human things that she was doing to try to connect with her prescribers. You know, she was doing the phone calls, she was doing the pop-ins, like doing great customized email marketing, handwritten notes, those things. But one of the things that she said resonated the most with her doctors when she went in is that she made homemade breakfast for them and would bring that in on her office visits. And she said that she was remembered for years to come after that. Oh my gosh, you're the breakfast lady. We loved your breakfast. Thank you so much. And she could have not done breakfast or just brought a box of donuts or Starbucks or whatever else, but she actually made breakfast at her house with love and brought that in and said, like, yeah, here's my trays of breakfast I brought for you guys. Enjoy. Like, how human and awesome is that? And that's like extra. You guys don't have to go to that level, obviously, but making a breakfast out of your house for your prospects, like, oh my gosh, like what a cool way of kind of taking what you're doing on the human marketing to the next level. And I think a lot of people will just like, show up, drop off some pamphlets, some business cards, whatever. But this is a really, really cool thing that she did. So, they do say that the way to a sale is through someone's stomach. So that's why we wine and dine. But making a homemade breakfast is extra. Anyway, I'm gonna get off the slide, so there you go. All right, sorry, not trying to starve you to death here. So post-digital, I talked about that a few minutes ago, and that was one of the parts that we can start to move toward in this human evolution of our marketing. And so what is post-digital? Well, basically post-digital equals human to human, and I'm gonna explain what I mean by that. Because it's this human to human era that we're living in, it's not all about what can we do on the digital front anymore. It's how can we supplement what we're doing digitally, whether that is running a social media ad campaign, having a chatbot on our website, making our website our main marketing front, whatever. It's also taking it to that human aspect and cooking the breakfast and bringing it to people. And it's also applying human messaging and positioning in what we're doing on our digital front as well. And why is post-digital so important? Well, it's because our digital marketing today that we're doing, so that's whether it's advertisements or it is our social media posting, whatever, our website, is having such a weak impact. That same Salesforce study that I mentioned a few minutes ago, they found that 88% of consumers or of customers are saying this digital marketing, these digital ads have no impression on me at all. They have no influence on my buying, my decision making at all. So my question to you guys as marketers and business people is, why are we spending all of this time building our social media profiles, posting content, running digital advertising campaigns, even pretending we're targeting people and doing such a great job of finding those exact buyers? Why are we doing all this if 88% of them are saying, this does nothing for me? Is it because it's cool? Maybe because it's trendy? Maybe because everyone else is doing it? I'm not sure, but I can tell you that we're wasting a lot of time and a lot of effort on pushing digital out there, and it's having no impact on these people. I mean, think about how much money and time that we're wasting. If it's only 88% are saying that there's no impact on them whatsoever. And a big part of that is because we are just talking to them, we're not having the dialogue, and the way that we're talking to them is not with messaging and an interface that is actually working for them and is connecting with them. That's where the human part comes in. So what the hell is post-digital anyway? So digital is the norm, not the differentiator. I'm sure my marketers can nod to this, right? You doing digital marketing does not make you different than your competitors anymore. Everyone should be doing something on the digital front, whether that's having a social media campaigns, advertising campaigns, you name it. Like, that is just normal. There is nothing new, nothing novel about doing digital any longer. And digital marketing is just marketing today. I always get like little nails on the chalkboard scratch whenever I'm like scrolling through LinkedIn and I'll see like either a job posting or someone's title and it says Director of Digital Marketing or Digital Marketing Coordinator Wanted. And I'm like, that's just marketing. Like that, you should just be marketing. That is just a marketing title. That is no longer, digital is not a differentiator. That is no longer something that's specific, right? Digital marketing is just marketing. There is no nuance to that any longer. And then also our customers are super entitled. And you guys are probably, I'm getting some nods, so you guys are seeing this. But there's a reason why. Their expectations continue to grow, and our marketing impact continues to go down, and that gap continues to widen and we need to figure out ways of connecting that. But the customer's expectations, I think, is one of the most important parts. They're used to being catered to now. They're used to having messaging that's tailored to them. They're used to having that special treatment, that red carpet being rolled out. So if you're not doing that, you're not going to meet their expectations, and you're going to fall short. So you must find ways of meeting your customers where they're at and meeting their entitled expectations. And then we need to move on from digital being cool. So it's not a cool thing to be on the forefront of digital marketing. I'm glad that maybe you guys ran a great campaign that won an award at your local AMA or whatever. That's cool. But it in itself is no longer something that is special, and we need to take that and think, okay, we need to be able to bring human messaging to it, and then also append in other types of humanistic tactics that are going to make us move past this digital era. And so there is this digital evolution that has happened over time. And you guys should be able to read that. It looks small to me on this monitor, but I think you guys are okay. This digital evolution started way back in the day. And I think since I've been doing marketing for about 20 years now, I remember when I was actually working in pre-digital, when I was working for the Tribune Media Group up in Chicago. Actually, my very first job in college, I was selling classified advertising ads. Those little tiny ads in the newspaper. I don't know if some of you guys remember that. I was a sales rep doing that. So I remember when print was still a thing. And so I remember being part of this pre-digital place. And this table is kind of interesting because it's going to walk you guys kind of through how it's changed over time. But in pre-digital, like those newspaper days, our main purpose was to create one-way communications, right? We would run an ad, and that would be it. We'd put it out there. We'd hope it would resonate. We'd hope someone would flip the page. We'd hope they'd see it, and then we'd hope they'd come in and buy, right? And then the scope of that was media management. It's like, well, are we putting it in the newspaper? Are we putting it on TV? Is it going to go in a magazine? Pretty simple, right? And then our dimensions of insight were really just segment differentiation. Like, are we going to run in a men's magazine or a women's magazine? Again, super simple. And then the only way that we were actually ever getting any insights was from third-party panels and things like that. I've actually been a part of some of those. We're like, did you see our ad? What did you think of it? How did that make you feel about the brand? That kind of stuff. And it was always post after the ad had run. So that was the only way of ever getting any information. And then there was this whole I don't need technology. The newspaper's never going away, right? The magazines are never going away. And obviously a lot of that has changed. And then the only way to measure it was with brand awareness. Like, how much did that brand actually resonate? How much more brand equity did we build? And so that was kind of the old way. Then we moved into the digital part of the evolution, and that's where we kind of are today, and we're starting to bridge out of it. But that was to inspire interactive dialogues was the main purpose, right? So we were going to try to have that two-way street that I started talking about. But we were able to be much more targeted with the information that we had in our advertising. And then with the scope, it was digital mobile engagement. So it was beyond just managing our media. It was also like, how many people are clicking on the ad? How many people are coming to this website? How many people are filling out these forms? We could actually go a step further. And then, back. And then for as far as dimension and insights, it was all about customer identity. So we could actually get to know our customers a little bit more based on all of these different dimensions and different websites and different aspects about them that we could apply to our marketing. And then we were actually able to get click and session activity, and then it was all about tech supporting marketing for the outlooks, and then campaign results was our main measurement goal, right? The clicks, the click-throughs, the purchases, we were able to start tracking all of those things. Then it moved into what is now post-digital, and this is where we're going today. So the main purpose of post-digital is to solve customer needs through the brand experience. So it's experiential. No matter where the customer is interacting with you, whether that's in person, online, through an advertisement, whatever, it's all about creating a holistic experience. So it's all that much more important for everybody to be marching to the same beat, whether you're on sales, whether you're in marketing, whatever. We have to make sure that we're driving the same brand experience for our customers across the board. And then the scope of that is every way that the customer experiences a brand, which I kind of just mentioned. And the dimension of insights is customer motivation. Like, how motivated are they to make a purchase, to share a testimonial, to talk about us, to bring in other customers? There's so many more things now that we can do with our customers to activate them as well. And then as far as insight scores, or sources, contextual data, there's so much data that we can get now. And I'm probably repeating all of these great trends that you guys hear, but it's all about data, data, data today. What can we do with data? How can we digest it? How can we turn it into great actionable stuff for us? So data is a huge part of that. And then in post-digital, tech is an integral part of experience development. So again, it's all about the experience for that customer, not just how they're interacting with your marketing. And then lastly, the measurement goal is now just business impact. So it's not just how is marketing doing overall, it's also how is it impacting our business as a whole, and should we change the direction of how we manage our business, how we talk about our core values, how we build products, and how we fit inside the market. Marketing is now helping to have that conversation and direct that. So it's not necessarily just coming from executive leadership down, it's kind of coming from marketing up. Marketing now is a huge influence over that because of what's happening in post-digital. And so the big thing here is that we are falling short of customer expectations. And this is kind of interesting. From that same Salesforce study that I was mentioning again, 68% of customers expect brands to deliver empathy, while 37% of customers think that they're getting that empathy, right? Talked about the empathy before. So they're like, hey, we expect you guys to do this. Like, we need you guys to meet me where I'm at as a human, but I only feel that like about half of you guys are actually doing that. So huge gap there, again, but we can start to step up with just little notches to get there. And then 66% of those customers expect companies to understand their unique needs, while only 34% of companies treat their customers as unique individuals. So again, huge gap that we can fix, and we can start to step toward to become more human. So to change gears for a second, I think this is like my favorite part of this, because this is what my book's all about, and this is kind of what my personal mantra is, and it's all about how to think like an entrepreneur and what you're doing in marketing and treating your business like it's your very own. So the question is, how can we be more scrappy? And when I think about that question, I think about the startup founder who's grinding and trying to figure out their product market fit and customer problems. I think about a marketer that's in the similar spot that you guys might be in, where you don't have a huge team at your disposal and you have to get really scrappy to pull campaigns together and hit the road and build what you can with the limited resources that you have available. So when I think of scrappy, I really think of that. And one of the first ways I think that we can be more scrappy is be fearless and don't ask for permission. So it's that whole entrepreneurial type of thinking where I'm not afraid. I'm just going to go and I'm going to do this. I'm going to do what I can, and I'm going to ask for forgiveness later. I mean, this is actually, you guys are in Texas. This is totally the Texas way, right? This is the cowboy way, right? We are not afraid, and we're going to go out there and we're going to try new stuff. We're not going to ask for permission. We're just going to get it done. And then if we step on some toes along the way, so be it. And I'm sorry about that, but look at this great thing that we were able to create. So be fearless and don't ask for permission. Second thing is to welcome change and be open to challenges. And like, I would think that this is probably one of those things that goes unsaid, but I think sometimes we get kind of stuck in the same rat race of doing the same things over and over again. If I'm going back to that weak impact slide where I was talking about how digital is having that 86% less impact with customers, why are we doing that over and over and over again? We have to embrace change. We have to think of something new and try to apply it. And then we have to be open to those challenges as well. So I think if we're not there making changes, and we're not there open to challenges, the market's going to pass us by, customers are going to pass us by, and we're going to end up losing business. So embrace the change. And also, we want to consider yourself an outsider. And what I mean by that is the way that digital is done today, the way that marketing is done today is very status quo, right? And we fall into that status quo. We're all victims of that. But if you consider yourself an outsider, someone who's questioning that status quo, going, hey, that's great that we do it that way, but if it's not having that great of an impact, then why are we doing that? Let's try to think a little strategically here. Let's think outside the box, be that outsider, and try to make new things happen. So always be questioning. And then recover quickly and listen to feedback. So I think it's obviously okay to fail. We all fail. Again, we're imperfect humans. We're going to fail at what we do, whether that's in our business in general or launching some sort of new marketing initiative. And failing is totally fine, but you need to fail fast. You get up, dust yourself off, try it again, and then obviously listen to the feedback that you're getting from your peers, listen to the feedback from your customers, and really understand like what you need to do to make that change and try it again. So, be fearless and then fail quickly. Those 2 points are so important to this. And then you want to focus on what matters, which obviously here is that human experience. Again, the whole reason that you guys exist is for personalization, for humans. You're literally in the business of helping humans. So you need to think that same way with your marketing. And really focusing on that human experience is going to help you guys win. And then lastly, it's take action and do something. I like this meme, right? It's like, me, come on, do something, poking me, right? What's the difference between an entrepreneur and everybody else? I'll give you the answer. Super simple. You can have an idea, I can have an idea, an entrepreneur might have an idea, but the difference is that an entrepreneur or a scrappy person is going to act on that idea, is going to do something about the idea. We can all have ideas, and we just go sit at our desks and go, whatever, that was a cool idea. Maybe I'll get to it one day. But inciting action, doing it, that's what's going to set you apart, and that is going to be the main key to being scrappy. So do something. And so in marketing, we exist to win over the hearts and minds of our customers, of our prospects. And the way that we have to do that is by being, again, as human as possible. And Forrester Research found that there are 3 key pillars or 3 key aspects of being of winning customers over today. And number 1, obviously, being human, right? Being personable, being relatable, building trust. That's what it means to be human with our customers. The second thing is to be helpful. So creating tools and experiences that are going to drive massive value for our customers wherever we can, even before they buy. There may be opportunities, whether that's going to be in what you're doing for your specific product, or maybe in some sort of case study, content, whatever. You guys have the opportunity to be helpful to a potential customer before they even say, yep, I'm signing on the dotted line and I'm using you guys, before they even give you your credit card or write you a check. In technology, I think a lot of companies will say like, hey, we have this free report, you can check that out. Take a look at our demo, freemium model, like start using our tool and then upgrade as you go along. Those are all examples of trying to be helpful to people and to build that trust, to give them that trial before they buy. And then lastly is to be handy. So this really breaks down to being easy to work with wherever you can. No one wants to do business with people who are difficult to work with. Let's be real. Have you guys gone to the DMV lately or the post office, right? People are kind of difficult to work with. You try to avoid it like the plague. Don't be like the DMV. Be easy to work with. Be personable, be actionable. Give people that pathway to have easy interactions with you and just be easy to work with. And there's this book here. It's called The Marketing Rebellion. It's by a colleague of mine. His name's Mark Schaefer. I actually interviewed him on my podcast. And the subtitle for the book actually is The Most Human Company Wins. Great book. And it's in the book, he basically unpacks how buyers and consumers have rebelled over time against stagnant marketing tactics. And that we're right now in what he calls the third rebellion. And I'm not going to spoil it for you. You guys have to check out the book. But right now we're in what is called the third rebellion, which really is this digital rebellion that I was kind of talking about, and how we need to be more human. And so his book talks all about this. Great book. Definitely check that one out. And then lastly, guys, just have some darn empathy, right? Have some darn empathy. Meet people where they are. Understand their scenario, understand their situation, and that's going to help you win. The most human aspect of what we can do in marketing is to have an empathetic approach, come to people, meet them where they're at, understand their unique situations, understand how they do business, really getting a grasp on their unique problems, and then creating a solution that is designed to help them. Don't sell to them, sell with them, right? And remember, out of all of these things I talked about today, we're only human, so you can't do all of it, but you can take a few of those things and start applying them today to start winning. And I really hope you do, because there's so much great things that can happen and a movement that will start both in your heart and in your customer's heart, like right away when you start to be more human with them. So with that, I'm going to close out, but first I want to tell you guys again about my book called The Marketing Starter. It comes out on the 29th of this month, March 29th. I have a few copies out in the lobby for sale, but if you guys scan this QR code, whether you're online or here, I'm going to give a couple copies away. So if you scan this and you fill out the little form on the site, I'll give a signed copy away to you. And I will be out in the lobby hawking a few. If you want to come out and buy one, I'm selling it for $10. They're going to be $13, but you're getting it almost a month before it comes out on Amazon. So I would love your support there and check it out. And then lastly, I'm waiting for people to scan. Scanning, all right. Okay.
Hello? Oh, can they get it autographed if they go out there with
yes.
you? Okay.
So absolutely. So I'm going to give the ones I'll give away, I'm going to give two away, autographed copies. And if you're online, we'll mail one to you. And if you come outside and purchase one, I will, of course, sign it as well.
Yeah, so virtual audience can also scan this QR code
Correct.
to have access to your book as well.
Yep.
Any other ways they can get it?
So they'll be able to get it on Amazon
On the 29th.
on the 29th when it
Okay.
launches. We good? All right, I'm gonna switch to the last one here. Here we go. All right. So anyway, so thank you so much. He's like, I'll pay for it. He's like, he can't get the QR code to work. I'll just pay for it. Thank you so much for having me, you guys. I hope this was insightful and enlightening. And you can scan this QR code to connect with me. This isn't the book one, but you can scan this one to connect with me. Also find me on all the social media at Tian Hines. Get to my site at tianhines.com. And really appreciate the support. And thank you so much for having me. I'm going to open it up for any questions that you guys might have and would love to continue the dialogue. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you, Tim.